wives in real life. Cause they're wives in real life. Wives in real life. That's us. Wife, life, real life, real laughs and real cries. Cause they're wives in real life. Wives in real life. Real. Wives in real life.
So real.
Real talk, real times.
All right. Well,
'Cause the-
welcome everyone to Wives in Real Life, episode 6. I'm so excited. We have an awesome show for you tonight. We are going to be checking in with my cousin, Ashleigh Trang. She is also a CEO and founder of her own company, as well as a newlywed. So we'll be checking in with her and seeing how she's doing during quarantine, what the plans for her business are, how she got started, and learn how to cook something I think is very fancy. So that is why I'm dressed up fancy, quarantine style. Not wearing any shoes, so don't judge me. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Ashleigh Trang.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on Wives in Real Life. This is like such an honor.
Thank you. No, this is great. And just side note, if you hear some noise, it's probably because my husband's going to be walking through the door and he doesn't know I'm filming. So he might be like,
No worries. This is real life. So
yeah, this is real. Cheers. Cheers to that.
oh, see, I don't know if you see this, but you know, this is a coaster
Ooh.
that one of my girlfriends made. She has a shop on Etsy. It's called K.Nicolette. And, you know, since you are the founder of Compliments and Coffee,
Yeah.
I can't send you your own merch, right?
I think you could, but
No. So I will be sending you a set of coasters from K.Nicolette.
I feel like I
They
won
are-
an amazing prize right now. I have coasters all over my house. Like, you have no idea.
Oh my gosh, that's
We're
so awesome.
the marble ones because I have marble everywhere, but I'm sick and tired of marble. Those are stunning. Those
Oh,
are beautiful.
these are handmade, so I hope you like them. They're amazing.
I love those. Those are gorgeous. Oh my God, Alicia, thank you. Those are so beautiful.
Cheers.
I make that.
Awesome. I love it.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You can never have too many coasters. If there's a surface, it probably needs a coaster.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Awesome. Well, before we get started, I just want to take a moment to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to smash the like and the notification bell so that you know all of the videos that we upload. Wives in Real Life, because we're real.
Exactly.
So, Ashleigh, while we're waiting for Richard,
Yeah.
how are you doing?
I'm doing really great. I'm super excited. I told you earlier, my parents are here visiting. This is the first time I've seen them since Christmas. I know that we're in a lockdown,
wow.
but they
Yeah.
moved their baby, so they came up here, and they haven't visited since we moved to Oakland. So it's been really nice to see them.
Oh, wow.
How are you?
They're rule breakers. They're definitely rule breakers.
Kurt always is a rule breaker. He does not follow instructions.
Oh my gosh, Uncle Kurt, cheers to you.
How's everything going over there?
We're doing well. Just holding up during quarantine, you know. So let me ask you, what has been the hardest part for you being in quarantine?
That's hard to say. Like, for the most part, I'm handling it pretty well because I consider myself an ambivert, so I love being home. I like being social, but I don't need to be social all the time. Social to me is FaceTiming, doing things like this, and then being able to walk outside and maybe grab dinner, which we can do where we live. So I'm doing okay, fortunately. I'm doing all right. Yeah, it's not too bad. I have a lot of time back, and although that, you know, this pandemic is extremely unfortunate and a lot of people have been affected in a negative way, I'm not taking it that lightly for any means, but I am counting my blessings, and I'm happy that, you know, the family is happy and healthy. And like, if that's good, then we're good. Like, if no one's hurt, if everyone's doing okay, then that means that, like, I'm mentally doing okay as well. So things are okay.
Absolutely. I can totally relate to that. My home is kind of like my little nest.
Mhm.
So we've only been in Atlanta for 2 years, but it's definitely it's turning into like, the way you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So how you guys have just been in there for a few, not even a year, right? Your anniversary's coming up.
Yeah. So we been in Oakland for since January 18th, but I've
Mm.
lived in the Bay for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. I can't remember. Like it was my anniversary living in San Francisco last week, but I don't remember what year it is. It's either fourth year or fifth year. I have no idea.
Hey, shout out to the Yay area.
Yeah, I said I would never want to move here. I was like, I would never move to the Bay. I'm only gonna move to Los Angeles, and like here I am. I can't imagine living
Oh,
in LA at all. And I love the Bay Area. I love what it has to offer, the opportunity, the nature. It's the diversity is really great. So it's a cool place.
definitely.
I've always wanted
Hey,
to like go hang out in Atlanta or in Georgia. I've been to Atlanta for a family reunion years ago for a convention. Yeah, family reunion and convention, but I do like Atlanta a lot.
yeah, definitely. I'm a little bit biased because I was born in the Bay, so I'm with you on that. But I do love Atlanta, so there's
Yeah,
a lot of opportunity out here in the city, especially for women of color, women in tech,
yeah.
which I know that you are. I'm no longer in tech, but I still consider myself a woman in tech.
We're
So
women in tech. Yes, we
thank
are.
you. Thank you. So I know that we're spending a lot of time indoors, spending a lot of time with Richard, your husband. Uh, what is the perfect day for you two? What does that look like?
Just getting stuff done. I mean, even though we're home, we still have a lot to do. He has a crazy work schedule, so he typically has a regular schedule once a
Hmm.
month, and then the other 3 weeks he's working like 14, 15-hour days.
Mm,
So a perfect day for us, or I can just at least speak for myself, is making sure that I'm getting things done with my business. So if I'm handling all of that stuff, customer service, packaging orders, that's great marketing. Making sure I get the house clean, and then making sure we have a good meal and get outside for a walk. That's like a great day for us right now. So
oh, see, that's awesome.
yeah,
Yes, definitely self care. We need that fresh air.
that rhymes. Look at that. Okay, bars.
Oh my gosh. I tell Adam all the time, I'm a lyricist. He doesn't believe me.
No, you
Oh my gosh. So, what are you most grateful for in your life right now? I know you talked about, family being healthy, but what about you personally?
oh goodness. I'm most grateful for my health and my family. I know that sounds so like generic and cliche, but I feel like if I wasn't feeling okay, or if my family members or loved ones weren't doing okay, for those of you who are watching, my father is diagnosed with multiple myeloma. He recently just got a checkup and he's doing great. So like him and I
Awesome.
are super, super close. So if he was affected, or if maybe he had a flare up, especially with what's going on right now, like he shouldn't even be here. But like I said,
Hmm.
he breaks the rules. I'm just happy to know that he is happy and healthy, and my grandparents are happy and healthy, and my husband's parents are happy and healthy, and some sisters. So like that makes me feel good because I'm able to focus on other things. If not,
Hmm.
I'm gonna definitely, all my attention's gonna be on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. So, talking about family, let's see. How did your family react when you told them you were getting married?
Um, yeah,
Oh, speak of which.
they were elated. I mean, my dad has been wanting me to. He's been wanting to hand off the job for a long time, I think. And then my mom, she was just happy for me. Like
Mm.
I'm older, I'll be 35 this year. She doesn't have any
Older.
grandchildren. Older, so she's she was ecstatic that she's able to enter the next phase kind of her life as well, because it's natural for parents to want their kids to get married, celebrate that, have grandchildren. So she was super, super stoked, and they love Richard so much, so they just thought he was a great add to the family. Because that always makes it easy too when your husband gets along really well with your parents and your siblings. So they were elated for it. They were super pumped about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. I totally agree. I was super excited for you as well.
Oh,
Richard, I know you're in there somewhere.
Yeah, he bought a thing of charcoal, so he's somewhere around here.
Well, hopefully he's going to help us with the lobster tail, because I have no idea what we're doing.
Well, he'll set us up with the lobster tail. He'll give us kind of the basics, and then we can probably go from there, because it is pretty easy. So.
Oh, speaking of which, what do I need to have, actually, ingredients-wise?
Yeah, so for the ingredients, you want to have butter. You want to have garlic, salt, pepper. And then you might want to garnish it with like green onion or honey.
Can I use cilantro? I have a lot of cilantro.
You can garnish it with cilantro too.
Yeah, I like green onions though. That's my favorite.
He likes green onions. Those are his favorites. So yeah.
We're actually growing onions. Hi, Richard.
Hey, how's it
How
going?
are you? Good. I love that hat.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the love. Not everyone loves the A's that much.
Yeah, because everyone likes the San Francisco Giants, but
not everyone.
I mean,
just tourists.
Yeah,
and transplants.
And transplants. I had to make the switch, so
that's true. That's true.
I'm a fan now. So
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, you're gonna help us cook the
lobster.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. What kind of lobster do you guys want to make?
We're gonna do the lobster tail, and so
I have a lobster tail. Check.
Lobster tail. We'll just need butter, garlic, salt, pepper. She has cilantro to garnish.
Okay.
And that's basically.
Yeah, that's more than you need.
Oh, then I have another question while we're waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long were you guys dating before you actually got engaged?
Oh God, maybe a year and a half. I think we were dating for about a year and a half, and then he proposed the same day that I think we got in a relationship, or the same day that we met. He matched it up to the same day we either met in person, because we met on Tinder.
Shout out to Tinder.
Shout out to Tinder. And I think that was like May the 14th or 15th is when he proposed to me.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Married the day after my birthday. Kind of. We got married a couple days after his birthday. We got married twice.
That's awesome. Hey, it was a beautiful wedding though. By the way, I love looking at pictures from your wedding.
Oh, thank you. We still haven't gotten our photo album back, so there's so many photos I haven't seen, but when that is released, I can't wait to share those photos.
Awesome. All right, so let's see. Speaking of meals, while we're prepping, I guess, what was the first meal that Richard ever cooked for you?
Steak.
And did you like it? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was living in somewhere in San Francisco, like outer parts, and you weren't living in Daly City. You were living in somewhere, Excelsior or Excelsior or whatever it's called. And he had a roommate, and he came over, or I came over, and he made me a steak dinner, and it was really great. And he had a nice bottle of red for me, and that's kind of
perfect.
Like steak and lobster, or steak and shrimp, seafood, surf and turf. That's our thing.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Thank you. That was the first meal you cooked for me. The first meal we had together was Spanish food, and that's a whole other story.
When did you have your first fight, and what was it about?
I do not know. Honestly, I can't remember that. Our first fight, I mean, probably within the first couple months or something. I mean, and it could have been over anything. I remember one time I got his car towed. So, I mean, who knows? It could have been anything. I'm coming from San Francisco, never taking public transportation, not understanding city life, understanding parking laws, understanding just the tech industry. Everything was so new to me, and he had to kind of witness me figure life out, like city life out. So I'm sure times I frustrated him and vice versa, because he's from the Bay Area, so he's very familiar with the city. He grew up in the city. So for me, it was probably very hard for him sometimes to like see me, you know, leave the house and not lock the door. He's like, why won't you lock the door? And I'm like, people don't lock the door where I'm from. Or, you know, I park the car and I leave things on the seats and it's not a big deal back in the 805. And, you know, in the city, people see something in the street and they'll in your car seat and they want to break into your car. So little things like that, I was very naive and didn't understand. So I'm sure we probably had some tips around that type of stuff.
That's so funny. Yeah, city life is much different. We're learning that now. We just got one of those Ring doorbells. Yeah, we need cameras.
We just got one too. We got one like 2 days ago. How
Seriously?
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's necessary. It is.
Sometimes people leave their trash in front of my door, and I'm like, I need to know who's doing that so that we can call them out next time. They'll just leave their trash bag in front of my door.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can tell you that Adam and I had, I don't know if it was our first fight, but it was the first fight that I remember was on our wedding day.
Oh, we might have had a fight the day before we got married because he didn't he didn't bring a suit. He just kind of chose nothing. He just like came. I was like, so what are you going to wear when we get married? And he's like, my Vans and this. And I was like, what do you mean your Vans and this? And you know what's actually was hilarious? I got married in this Zara dress.
How funny.
Yeah, so we got married like a year before our wedding. We just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
You know, we just wanted to have that moment with my parents and his parents and my grandma.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know if she was going to be able to make it. And I would have felt awful if I would have gotten married and like waited, because I'm like, what's
right?
Who cares? Let's just have a ceremony. My dad can marry us. We got married in Avila. And then we had our wedding a year later. Like, so our actual ceremony, I was like, what are you going to wear? And I was like, that's all you brought is a t-shirt. And so we had to go to like Banana Republic and pick out some stuff last minute. And that was like our argument.
How funny.
Yeah.
Hey.
Stressful situations sometimes can happen. But for me, it's always like, you're going to argue. You just have to know how to argue the right way, and you know how to resolve things and without cutting each other.
Right. So. Yeah. I'm still working on some self-development there. You know, it is about respect and communication. I'm definitely realizing.
Yeah, that's one thing too that I've learned is like with marriage, and I know some people are probably going to hear what I'm saying and they're going to be like, what? But I feel like in marriage, like, yes, you want to fall in love with your partner, but ultimately you want to respect them, because when respect is lost, that's when trust is lost. That's when love is lost, because sometimes you're going to fight with the person that you love. And in that moment, you may not love them the way that you should, but if you respect them, you know that you're going to treat them right. So that's why I feel like you should always respect your partner. Like that's something that you guys should constantly work on, like making sure that the respect is there.
That's really good. Yeah. I agree.
Year two of marriage, or almost on year 2 of marriage, 2 or 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, we're going on 8 years in July. I'm like, oh my gosh,
8 years.
Does it seem like that long?
Years?
No. Now, see, that's why I was asking you about how long the engagement was. Adam and I were engaged for 3 months before we got married. So, yeah.
Oh, I didn't
we were
that.
Like, yeah, we planned a wedding within 3 months.
That's amazing. Wow. And I remember I went to your wedding. That was a lot of fun. That was in the village. I remember the food was good.
It's fine. We can do the lobster. All right.
Awesome. Yay.
Step 1 lobster is
step 1.
Open a beer. Take a couple sips.
Where's my glass? Cheers.
Cheers. I'm drinking my margarita now out of my mug, you guys. I feel like I need to be on brand here. So cheers, honey.
I love it. I definitely pour my rosé in there.
I feel like the ceramic of the mug keeps it a lot colder too. So these are the lobster we have.
We defrosted 3 of them.
Okay.
We defrosted 3 lobster tails.
Awesome.
So we got this frozen. We got like 21 frozen lobster tails. Shout out to New England Lobster Company out in Burlingame. They defrosted for, I think, over a day. So now they're like perfectly thawed. Smells really good. Can't wait to get them in the oven.
Mmm.
So if you like your lobster tail a little more well done, what you want to do is you want to take it out of the fridge for like an extra 30 minutes before you cook it. That way you make sure that it's cooked like all the way through the center. If you like it a little medium rare, you can just take it out of the fridge and then just like cut it open, which we're about to do, and then throw it in the oven. All right.
Awesome.
So
Okay. I need a knife.
you need,
Oh, what are you using?
Scissors.
Oh, scissors. I have those.
Okay, how many
Bam.
do? One.
As many as you want.
Let's make 2 today.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to rinse off 2 tails. So however many tails you're making.
Okay, I'm gonna rinse mine. Cold water, yeah?
Yeah, cold water.
Okay.
Cut it in half.
Yeah, I can cut it in half.
Yes, thank you. All right, so you rinsed off the lobster tail.
No.
No, that's fine. I was just gonna put my hand there.
Oh.
Whoops.
So you don't want to cut your husband's hand when you do this.
All right, we're gonna microwave half with that one.
Okay.
But for now, can you just microwave just half in like a butter dish?
Mhm.
So what we're doing is we're microwaving a little butter to baste the tails with once we cut them open. But for now, if you're gonna cut open the shell, cut open the shell down the middle, like so.
So what he does is he has his scissors and stuck them in, and you want to angle so she can see. And you want
you put the scissors in to the meat. The other.
You cut.
Yep. You just want to cut it right down the middle.
So if you want, you can start, and we can help you. Want to look and see what you're doing? Make sure it's.
Let me see, perfect. Like that?
Yep.
And there you go.
Oh, wow. Look at that. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No pun intended. It's already dead. Okay. Sorry, everyone out there. That's vegetarian.
You got it?
Awesome. Wow.
Open this other one.
That was not too hard.
Nah.
So then you want to also have a stick of butter, Alicia. And if you have a stick of butter, you want to cut it in half.
Yep.
You want to cut that stick of butter in half and microwave part of it, half of it, and then leave the other half regular.
I'm so proud of myself.
No, look at it's like once you figure something out, it just becomes easier and easier, right?
Seriously.
So you want to microwave the butter for 45 seconds.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching. Before we continue, I'd like you to smash that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you stay up with Wives in Real Life. I'll wait.
Well, we're back.
We're back. Hey.
I love it. No, he's washing his hands.
Yeah, it's kind of important. Wash your hands.
Let's all take a moment of silence for the hand washing.
Sorry. All right. So next thing that you're gonna do is, now that you have your lobster cut down the middle, you're gonna pull the shell open and pull the meat out. This part's kind of tricky because the meat kind of gets stuck.
So here's his hands, Alicia, if you wanna.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you wanna just pull it apart.
Pull it apart. It's okay if it cracks a little.
Oh yeah, you're doing great.
It helps if you pull it from left to right. Pull the meat, like pull it one side and then back to the other side.
Okay. I think mine's kind of prickly.
Oh yeah, you want to watch out for the spikes. See, we pulled it from one side. Now we're gonna do the other side.
So one side at a time.
Okay, I think that worked. Does that look
Yeah,
right?
it looks great.
And then once you get to the end, you don't want to pull it all the way out, but you want to pull it up and
like this.
It'll look like this, but you want to wash it a second time because there's a vein inside that you want to wash out. So it'll kind of look like this. So I'll do the other one.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, when you do it raw, it's not the sexiest. Once it's cooked, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, Adam cut and what do you call it? Skinned the catfish that the kids caught last year. Yeah, neither one of us have ever cleaned fish, so that was not the prettiest.
Oh yeah, that's always kind of gnarly. Yeah.
He did it though.
Yeah, that's impressive. I think I did that last time I like cleaned and cut a fish. I was like 7.
That's pretty cool.
My dad took me fishing. Were you able to get it out, Alicia? Not get it out, but kind of lift all the way up and leave a little bit of the ends.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours looks great.
So we're gonna do now is we're gonna wash out the vein. See this vein? We'll pull it out.
If you see a vein, you may not have one.
Yeah.
Got you. I just rinsed mine out, so.
Perfect.
Huh? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I'm only doing one because Adam doesn't really like seafood, but I'm adventurous, so.
He doesn't
know. No, I wanted to cook gumbo.
I'm talking to all the Lynches, okay, that are tuning in, okay? You guys need to start eating seafood. I remember one time Aunt Linda, and I think it was even Matthew once. I might have taken Matthew to his first sushi dinner. And I remember
No way.
You're gonna eat it raw, and I think he got like a California roll, or we got something easy for him. But I do remember taking Matthew to sushi, and it was like this experience. And his mom was like, "You ate like raw stick." It was this whole thing.
Oh, how funny!
I know that my wedding was like mostly Asian seafood, so I know that most people were like, but for the most part, I thought it was spectacular.
It was so good. When that, I think it was like salmon or something. What was the last? It was a fish.
It was the sea bass.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't even handle it. It was so good. It was buttery.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. All right.
So I'm just rinsing this off really quick. Sorry.
Gotcha. No, I'm following along.
All right. And we are back.
All right. So now your lobster tail should look kind of like this.
Ooh.
And if you want to get some green onions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
All right, and that would be a good time to preheat your oven. So we have ours broiling.
Okay.
So it's on high. For lobster this size, it's about the size of my hand. That's not like a scientific point of reference, but the lobster's about the size of your hand. You want to broil it. You want to broil it on high for about 10 minutes. If you like it medium to medium rare. If it's bigger than your hand or you like it a little more well done, I would bump it up to like 12 minutes. You have some green onion for after to garnish.
Or your cilantro, because I know that's what you're gonna.
Yep. Awesome. We're actually growing basil.
Ooh, I love me some basil.
Ooh, you guys should get like a little indoor.
We do. I actually went and picked this from our garden outside.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
That's with gardening and composting. So we have a compost bin outside and a garden.
Yes, that is awesome. That is the future, really, being self-sufficient, growing your own vegetables.
Yes.
I'm all for it.
That is like his passion.
Yep.
Awesome. So let me think. Okay, while it's preheating.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. What is the strangest gift that your husband's ever bought you? Strange. You guys have a strange gift.
I mean, what's the strangest gift? I mean, it might be strange to me, but to you it's not strange because you like to buy gifts that are practical.
Yeah, for her first birthday, she thought I got her a ladder.
Yeah, so I lived in this house, and Richard is always thinking about what if there's a fire, what if there's an earthquake, what if there's a pandemic. He literally plans the pandemic. He's like, I was born for this. I've been preparing for this my whole life. He prepares for every kind of thing. So when he came over my house and he saw that I didn't have an emergency exit in my bedroom, he started panicking. And so for my birthday, I wanted Birkenstocks. And he was like, why do you want me to spend over $100 for you to look like you live on the streets? And I was like, you know what? These are popular sandals, okay? And he's like, no, I'm going to get you a ladder for your birthday because you need a ladder to get out of your window in case of a fire. And that's all he told me. And I was like, oh, this guy, because this is like when we first started dating. This guy's going to get ladders. This is not my jam. So I was pretty bummed about that. But he did end up getting me my sandals. He just wanted to like not have me. He wanted to trick me. But yeah, he hasn't bought me anything weird. Like he'll buy me things, but they're just like my gifts that I want, he does really great with. Like he always hits it on the head. And he buys me a lot of random things that I sometimes think are silly, like a case for my phone that has a pocket for my credit cards. And I'm like, it's not the cutest, but then I realize how practical it is. I'm like, actually, I do need this. I need a lot of stuff like that. Stuff that I would never buy myself, but I'm like, oh, yeah, actually, this does work really well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, husbands, for always having our back with the practicalities.
Yes. We just want things that are cute and sparkly. It's maybe smell good, but it's nice to have that,
all those things too.
Like he got me pepper spray the other day. I just arrived in the morning. He was like, hey, I just got you some pepper spray. Let's go for a walk. We'll test out the fake one so you can make it. So he went and he put a bucket in my shower for me to practice spraying with the fake pepper spray so that when I need to use the real pepper spray, I can be confident. So anyone that's watching this, don't mess with me.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have pepper spray. I've never sprayed it though, so.
That's good. I think if I still lived in San Francisco, I would have used it several times by now.
Yeah, that's why we needed to test it so she can get good practice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have your melted butter?
I do. I did microwave it. Check.
Okay. Do you have a basting brush?
Probably
If you don't, then
not.
you can improvise. No?
What do I improvise with?
You can just use a spoon.
Yeah, you can use a spoon and drizzle it on top.
Mm-hmm.
Bam.
Yep, perfect.
I'm going to take the camera down, everyone. Boop.
Okay. If you were to use a basting brush, what you would want to do is you want to drizzle it on top before you double dip the brush. So you're drizzling it, and if you have a spoon, you can drizzle it just the same. So you drizzle it on top, and then once you get enough melted butter on it, then you can use the brush as a brush and baste it. But if you do this, make sure not to put it back into this melted butter because we're going to use this melted butter for dipping after it's all cooked.
So since it's raw, you don't want to double dip raw fish.
Got you. Cross.
After it's cooked, yeah.
Lamination.
And now,
let's see what this guy's doing in here.
Okay. Well, while he's looking for herbs, right?
Yeah, he's just picking out some seasonings.
yeah, with seasoning, you can get pretty creative. Whatever you have on hand. Salt and pepper is always a good idea, but you can throw in like paprika or some garlic salt. So we're just gonna salt and pepper it a little. Not too much, but just a little. And this garlic, this salt we got on Amazon. It's really good.
He's obsessed with this salt.
Yep.
So this
what is it? Why is it so special?
It's a gourmet salt. So my girlfriend came and visited us during the week we got married. Her name's Shannon. And we went out for drinks and dinner and happy hour. She pulls this salt out of her purse and she tells me she doesn't travel without it. And she starts seasoning her own food. And so Richard asked to use some, and it's this like gourmet salt that he's now obsessed with and just bought a huge.
Oh my gosh!
And he just wants to sprinkle it everywhere.
That is so funny. Yes, I never know how much seasoning to put. I always think I put a little bit, like under.
You can always put on more later, but if you over season, then it's tough to take it off. You know.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Here goes the box of the seasoning salt. It's Maldon sea flakes. These are really good, and this whole box, it only costs like $7, so it's pretty affordable.
Oh wow! I love that. Affordable gourmet.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna sprinkle ours with some paprika too, because I love
Nice.
paprika, and it gives it a nice color once you broil it. So we're just
Well, I'm definitely building my spice cabinet. Paprika, I need to add that to the list.
paprika, salt, pepper, like a good salt, pepper, and then like a good cayenne pepper. Those are like the basic.
And
Like,
a garlic salt.
Cayenne pepper, yes.
oh yeah, garlic salt and garlic powder,
Mhm.
onion powder. Like if I could only have 7 seasonings, I can get by with just that.
I love garlic. By the way, this is my huge jar of garlic. This is how much we eat garlic. Like we'll go through this like really quickly.
Oh wow, it's good for
We
you.
love Costco.
Yes, absolutely.
This came in like a 3-pack.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's impressive.
I'm half Italian, so
A lot
you know.
of garlic too, but I bought one of those. I feel like when I bought one of those, I use less. But I'm like, if I buy the raw, like the organic ones, I have to actually do it. I'm like, okay, I have to cook with this. But if I know I have to cook with it, then I'm gonna just like throw it out probably. I'm still trying to figure. I feel like there's a science or there's a strategy behind grocery shopping that I'm still trying to figure out.
Yes. Okay, question.
Yes.
Okay, so while we're waiting, why compliments and coffee? How did you come up with the idea?
Yeah.
Since you are the founder, in case anyone hasn't figured it out yet.
Hi. So it happened just one crazy day in the morning. After moving to San Francisco, starting to work at a lot of startups, wearing several different hats, it can be overwhelming, rewarding, because like I mentioned to you before, like when you wear several hats, you learn a lot quicker. You're not pigeonholed into one role. So it's great, but it also can just be very, very overwhelming working at these startup companies. So when I'd start my day, I'd have my coffee in the morning, either with him or by myself, and I would just start thinking about my calendar or looking at my calendar, getting Slack messages in the morning, and I'd start to just stress out, like, God, today's just going to be a hard one, you know? And then when I would go to work around the afternoon, you know, people typically want a midday pick-me-up of coffee. So I'd either go by myself for a walk to a cafe, or a girlfriend would ask me if I'd want to go. And then I started to understand that this was kind of more of a ritual. Coffee is a very ritualistic thing. Like, it's very comforting. It's kind of like why people like cafes. It's community, it's comfort. And so with coffee, I just kind of thought to myself, like, wow, it would be really cool if there was like a affirmation or something that was super meaningful to me in the inside of the mug. A lot of coffee mugs have a lot of cute artwork on the outside, which is awesome. But I thought if I was going to create something like this, I would have to try to differentiate myself from people that are already in the market that's overly saturated. So I thought of, what if there was an affirmation or a compliment to myself that I could read in the morning and I could say over and over out loud while I drink my coffee. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, but the more that you say something, it gets into the subconscious of your mind and you start to believe it. So that's why those little digs of like, oh, I'm so dumb, or I can't believe I did that, I'm stupid. Like, those little things do add up over time. So if you think of those things on top of the stuff that maybe people have told you, depending on how you grew up or who you hang around, you already have gunk in your mind. So those little things do start to add up once you start saying a lot of negative stuff to yourself. So I thought we need to be more kindly to ourselves, me especially.
Absolutely.
I've gone through a lot. As much as I love the 805, like, there's not a lot of people that look like us there. So you are going to be treated differently. There is going to be some discrimination. You know, there's going to be like those microaggressions that you have to deal with. And it affects you. It definitely affected me for a long time. I had a lot of doubts because of a lot of things people wanted to share or project onto me. I didn't take chances. I had missed opportunities. And I just knew when I removed myself from that environment and moved to the Bay Area, I wanted to start over and be a little bit more bold. And in order to do that, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to treat yourself with respect, and you have to forgive yourself for the things that you've done. So it just kind of made sense for me to have a mug for myself. But when I thought about creating a mug for myself, I was like, well, there must be other people that are feeling this way, because I go get an afternoon pick-me-up with a lot of other people.
Right.
So I thought this might be a really cool business idea. And then I thought of the name, and then it just kind of started from there where I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to own a business, start a business. I don't know what I really want it to become, but my grandfather was an entrepreneur. He was a man I love and respect, still love, even though he's no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought now's the time to just try. Why not try?
Yeah.
So that's how it was born. Just stress,
Awesome.
work, life.
That's awesome though. And I'm really glad that you did start that company, because it is true, we reach to those comforts, in times of stress, and why not encourage yourself, while you're comforting yourself.
Right. And coffee, it naturally will like increase our serotonin levels. So when you drink a cup of coffee, that energy that you have, that wake up feeling you have, that coupled with maybe like an affirmation, that you see when you're scrolling on Instagram, where you're like, oh, that double tap, that is exactly how I'm feeling. That's what I need. It's a word for me. Or a quote you see on Pinterest. If you have that caffeine with that excitement that you feel when you read a quote combined, it's very, very powerful. And if coffee is ritualistic, why not add something in there where you can affirm yourself, start your day strong, feel confident about the things that you have to tackle. I felt like they just really went hand in hand with each other. It was simple, but effective.
Absolutely. I agree. Aw. Well, I think my oven's preheated. I don't know about you.
Yeah, our oven is ready to go. So we can just go ahead and pop. What we're going to do is we're just going to pop these lobsters in. We'll probably put ours in a cast iron skillet. And then we will put them in the oven for a few minutes. So here's Rashard. He's back.
All right, so we're gonna put ours in a cast iron skillet. And then we're just gonna pop it in the oven. Ours is gonna be 9 minutes. Hey Google. Hey Google. Hey Google.
I think it heard you.
Set timer for 9 minutes.
Sure, 9 minutes.
That's what she gets paid for, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that Richard is super supportive. How does he show support for your business specifically?
I don't know. I guess all things. Like I can run ideas by him. Sometimes when I'm stuck with my captions, he helps me come up with my captions. He's really good with his words. Like I learned that when he writes me cards. His cards are extremely thoughtful and beautiful, and I cry. My cards are very, come on in, Mom and Dad. They don't want to disrupt. My cards are very, hey, like, love you so much, thank you, and dinner. They're very, very thoughtful. And so I started asking him about some of my captions, and he helps me come up with some of my captions because he loves the heartfelt messages. And then, he works in finance, so I'm really fortunate to have someone that can like look at the back end of my business and talk to me about the things I don't understand when it comes to money, or taxes about the business, or just scaling. So that's really great. And like whatever I need help with, my first batch of orders, I had a lot of orders to fill, and he came in and helped package them up for me. So like he's just whatever I need, he'll help me out, and it's pretty great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you have that like partnership,
Mm-hmm. No, I'm very fortunate for that too, because I feel, especially in the finances back end, I feel like that's where a lot of businesses struggle. So I'm happy that I have someone that can understand like the things that I may not get. So it works out pretty well.
See, God knows. He knows. I honestly think that when God picks our partners for us, he totally knows what we need.
Yeah. No, I feel like that too. God's funny like that.
So what's the hardest part about being your own boss though?
Staying consistent. Like it's not like you have a manager that is like telling you what to do, or if you don't do something, they're gonna ride you for that. It's more or less like you have to continuously show up for yourself, even on days when it's hard, even when, you know, maybe some other people aren't liking what you're doing or what you're doing isn't being well received. You have to stay committed to your idea and your passion, and you have to be organized. Like, I'm not the most organized person. I became organized with my calendar when I became a recruiter, because you have to call, interview, email people back, stuff like that. And I feel like the cadence for that is a lot different than your business, because for that, you understand what your roles and responsibilities are. For your business, you do, but they're constantly changing as you grow or as you think of a new idea. So it's like you have to just always show up for yourself, and you have to, like, I know that I have a business for speaking to yourself kindly, but I don't have it because I speak to myself kindly every day and I know everything. I have it because it's a tool that helps me. It's something that I have to continuously work on. Changing the way that you think about yourself doesn't happen overnight. That's something that definitely takes time, and it definitely takes a lot of work. So the cool thing about being a business for a company like this, though, is like, you can't beat yourself up, right? You have to, like, you know, you basically have to follow what your mission statement is. So for me, it's like a way of holding myself accountable. So that's been pretty cool, but it is hard, like getting up regularly, showing up for yourself, and having to stay consistent when you have no one that's like, all right, if you don't do this, you won't have that. It's just more or less like, you got to show up for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think for me, that's definitely the hardest part, is the consistency, because like what you're saying, there's nobody telling me you have to do this, you know?
You have to do it when no one's watching. You have to do it when no one is buying. You have to do it when no one is liking. You just have to do it. So
absolutely.
Things are always easy when it's well received and people are praising you for it. But when no one's doing anything and you're doing all this work, you're always like, is this worth it? And it is. Ultimately, it is, because even if it doesn't grow into what you think it is, you're creating habits that are only going to help you in your future self. And also, even if things don't work out, there may be other opportunities that can happen just because you took a risk. So, you know, God willing, my business doesn't take off the way that I like, but guess what? I learned how to market for myself. I got comfortable speaking on camera. I know how to, build an Instagram following, all of these other strengths that I that I grew. So now maybe another opportunity can arise and I can step into that because of what I've done for my business. So nothing is out. You're not failing. You're only failing if you don't try or if you give up.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I'm so like inspired by your professional development, your continued growth. I definitely have seen the value in growing professionally and continuing to learn and be a learner. How do you continue to develop yourself? Where do you reach out? What's your go-to for self-development?
Everything. Especially with the internet. And now, like, having a business, I'm following a lot of female entrepreneurs that I feel like are doing great in the space that they're in. Reading books like Sincero, she's like a great author. I like her books because there's a lot of great information that you can use and like actionable things, but also it's easy read. So I like that too. I like her style of writing. I have a great relationship with my parents. My mom's a great example of knowing, like, constantly working on herself. Like, no matter how old she gets, she constantly wants to grow. And so she's been a huge example of that. A lot of adults, they get older or they get tired and they say, well, this is who I am. And if you don't like it, and yeah, that's who you are, but you can always do better. And she always is trying to do better. So she's been a great example of that for me. And then it's fun. Like, even right now, like, I'm learning so much by doing this company, and it's been a lot of fun because you get to meet great people and you get to do cool stuff like what we're doing right now. And it's just a lot of fun to learn, and you become more confident the more knowledgeable you become too. So I think it's just a good thing to do.
Absolutely. I think you know, like myself, we've always had that entrepreneurial like spirit about us. So what do you think is the best part of being your own boss, being an entrepreneur? What's your favorite part?
The possibility, like when you have a 9 to 5, and this is not made, like being an entrepreneur isn't for everyone. And I always get really frustrated when people try to make others feel bad for not starting a business. It's not for everyone.
Mm,
Sometimes you do it and you also realize it's not for you too. But like I say, it's always great to try. Um,
right.
yeah. So learning new, hey Google,
Hey Google.
stop timer. Um, my favorite part about being my own boss is the confidence I've gained. Because it's like for the longest time, a lot of the reason why I didn't want to be my own boss is because I didn't think I could do it.
Mm,
And so now that I'm doing something that's being well received, or a lot of women are like, me too, like I feel that way. Or, like it's kind of like, are you feeling what I'm feeling? And they're like, yeah, I am feeling what you're feeling. I feel the same way.
mm.
It's very reassuring that I'm, putting something out there that resonates really well with people. So that's been really fun to experience. And I feel like when you get outside of your comfort zone and you do something that you haven't been doing, like being an entrepreneur, you feel like you've unlocked a level in life. I feel like there's levels in
Mm.
life. There's different levels, and you're always trying to beat like the master of the level, whether that master is yourself and you're saying self-defeating things. But when you start doing things that you didn't think you could do, there's just something that feels so empowering about that I really, really love. And you start to be more of a risk taker. And so that's what I've really loved about becoming an entrepreneur, is being like, okay, I didn't think I could do an Instagram and I did, or I didn't think I could build a website and I did, and I didn't think that I could come up with a product idea and I did. I'm like, okay, this is cool. So what else can I do? What other possibilities
Yes.
are out there? So you start to explore more rather than just kind of stay mundane and do the same type of things over and over and over again.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, wait, my timer went off. Did your timer go off?
Yeah, so we can probably take the lobsters out. Let me.
All right.
Come back.
We're not taking it out. We're basting it one more time.
So he said we're going to baste the
Oh,
lobsters one more time and
gotcha.
put it back in.
By the way, thank you, Richard, for helping us out with this, because
Happy to.
I have no clue what I'm doing. But your pictures on Instagram are always amazing, so I knew that we had an expert we were dealing with.
I honestly just learned how to do this maybe 2 weeks ago. So
Stop it.
yeah, it's like a learning process for me too. So once you take out the lobster, yep, you're doing it just right. If you don't have a basting brush, then you want to drizzle it like this. If you do have a basting brush, drizzle it a couple drops, drizzle it like 2 or 3 times, and then just brush it on.
Oh yes, brush it on.
Do you want to get a close up there?
I have it right here.
Okay. And if you want to throw on a little more seasoning, that's fine too right now. But now we're gonna put it back in the oven for another 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes.
This is fun. It's like date night, but
Yeah.
Quarantine style.
Quarantine style, exactly. Good. I mean, I feel like this is the new wave of the future anyway, especially since we've been on lockdown. Like a lot of the ways I'm socializing with my friends is through Zoom. So it's been nice though. It's nice connecting with people that I haven't regularly spoken with too. Like this is our first time. Look, we haven't even really hung out since we've been relatives.
I know. It's like
Yeah.
everything just happened so quickly. We both got married. I moved. You moved. Like,
yeah, or when you didn't move, I was gone, and I came back, and then you were gone. So yeah, so like it's cool. The quarantine has, I don't want to say ups, but there's some, there's some special moments that can come out of hard times.
that's true. Like, who do you find yourself connecting with mostly besides like your parents? Like someone, who do you find yourself connecting with that you normally didn't connect with because of quarantine?
I would say Richard, and that sounds weird, but he works crazy hours, so he wouldn't come home
Oh,
late night. I'd be home by myself quite a bit, and if I didn't want to see him, I'd have to go visit him at work because there's a bar at his office, so I'd go meet him for a cocktail, and then I'd go back home. So it's been nice to, even though he works a lot, we're around each other a lot more, and he gets to kind of gets to know me because I have a lot of weird things. I like to dance around the house and act silly, but I do that when he's not home. So now that he's home, I have to get it out somehow. So he has to watch, and he's like, I'm learning so much about you. It's like I never knew you before.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
the things we learned during quarantine.
Yeah, when you're having to just be at home with your partner, you do notice and learn a lot more stuff for sure. Yeah.
So
like, I didn't know he was this obsessed. I knew he loved composting, but now that he has this space to garden and compost, I now understand the level of like the amount of passion he has for gardening and composting.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome though.
Yeah,
it's the wave of the future, I swear.
I mean, it's cool, but it's
very cool.
But composting,
it's very cool.
It's like recycled trash, basically. So there's always like, he keeps the garbage in our house organized, but it is something I'm getting used to.
You're so funny. So, okay.
So, lobster.
What is it? Done?
Yep. Gonna microwave a little more butter.
There's so much butter on this lobster.
Microwave more butter?
Yeah. So I mean, if you
no, it's fine. I love butter. No, it's totally fine. I love butter. So, question while we're waiting, what I know you've been married for a minute now, so like, what do you feel like you've taught each other, or what have you learned through being married versus being single?
Oh, I'm way more responsible. I mean, he'd probably say I have more work to do, which is fine, but I think compared to what I was like, I was just kind of like living life. I was just going through the motions, but not understanding what my path was. So with Richard, he kind of pushes me to do more for myself. Like I said before, like I always had an idea that I wanted to do some cool stuff, but living back home and not having a lot of opportunity. And I like to share with people, like I didn't finish school, I didn't go to college. So when I had a lot of friends that did go to college and I didn't, I was like, man, I probably can't get a high paying job. I probably can't do X, Y, and Z. But it also, like, I had to remove myself from that kind of toxic environment. And I also had to challenge myself and take risks. So moving to SF, and at the time I was working for some friends of mine when I originally moved there at their warehouse. And Richard was like, well, this can't be forever. So what's your plan? And I'm kind of like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, what's your plan? And I was like, because I met him my first week I moved there. So I've known him since I moved to San Francisco. And I was like, I don't know, like, you know, I don't want to leave them because, you know, I want to at least work there for a year. And he's like, well, let's think about you though. What do you need? And so he pushed me to like take more risks, like I mentioned before, and apply for jobs that I didn't think I would get. Because, you know, mostly men will look at jobs and they don't think like, oh, I'll probably never get that. They'll think like, I'm just going to apply for it anyway. And women are more likely to be like, I don't have all of the, you know, accolades that I need. And
yes,
the
qualifications.
So I wouldn't apply. But man, let me tell you, since I met him, I applied for some jobs and I got what I'm talking about. But it works. Like, you just got to do it. You never know. So I've been more of a risk taker. I travel more, so I've been able to explore the world more since I've married him, which has been so much fun traveling. I wish I would have started traveling a lot younger, but I don't think that I was mature enough maybe to do it, because now that I travel with him out of the country, I understand certain precautions that you need to take and things that you can do to make it a lot easier. So I've matured in a lot of ways with Richard, I feel like. He's helped me kind of level up. But I think I've helped you level up too, another.
Oh, yeah.
So how does your lobster look?
It looks really good. I was looking for some little tongues, but all I have are
Oh, those are nice. What brand is that?
you know what? It's so funny. Our neighbor gave them to us.
Those are nice. Those are tongues? They're like knives too.
They're legit.
Those are really nice.
That's like barbecue master.
And did you garnish yours with cilantro?
Not yet.
Right, because we already topped ours with the green onion.
You garnish it a little bit.
Ooh, let me see.
And then you're good to
Then you take your Instagram photos.
That's the professional right there.
You want to dip it in the butter.
That's a great idea. Okay.
The melted butter.
So you can just kind of take it out like this. I took mine out.
Yes.
Because the shell is good just for presentation, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just cut a small piece like this. And then you dip
Cheers.
it. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Dip it in the butter. And then, yeah. And that, my friends, is a good lobster.
Mm. That was so good.
That's really good.
Well, as we close it out, I only have one more question for you. What is one piece of advice you would give to those who are thinking about getting married or who just got married? What would you say?
For me personally, and this may not work for everyone, or everyone may not agree, and that's okay. But I'm very grateful that we did premarital counseling before we got married. I think it's really good to just chat about like what your expectations are, because sometimes you're just kind of like, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about the idea of marriage, and you don't fully have a grasp and an understanding of what it entails and the challenges that you might have. So talk to people. Number one, if you can get a premarital counselor that is a male and a female partner, I feel like that's more beneficial, because you're going to get the male and the female's perspective, as opposed to just meeting with one person who might be a male, and they can kind of speak more on the male. And they might understand women as too, because they're professionals, but it's just nicer to have a couple and they can share their own stories that they went through. So that is a good thing. Also remember that as exciting and as much as Disney Channel told us about fairy tale love, it definitely does exist, and you're going to have those moments, but don't push out and pull out just because it doesn't always feel that way. And also, don't compare your relationship to Instagram. And I want to say that again.
Yes.
Don't compare your relationship to Instagram, because you're not going to see many couples that are going to show them fighting or what they're arguing about. You're going to just see a lot of people's highlight reels. And I know that is heard, but I feel like that's something that constantly needs to be said all the time. Because people, especially the industry, they'll go ahead and they'll sell us on a dream, you know, especially like with Valentine's Day and all of that stuff like that. And there's a lot more to marriage and relationships and loves than just trips and looking cute and romantic photos, right? You want to make sure that this is a person where when the challenges arise, this is a person that you want to go through challenges with. But also, you want to make sure it's someone you can laugh with. You want to make sure it's someone who respects you, who has the same values as you. Ideas, dreams, and goals are aligned. They don't have to be similar, but someone that knows how to support you, and someone who's also a strong communicator and can say, I don't know, I don't understand, and I'm sorry. Forgive me, my family is talking in the background. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, and someone that also knows how to comfort you when things are difficult. Because sometimes you can have someone that can work well with you, but you also have to have someone that can comfort you too. That is huge. If you don't have people that can like make you feel safe and supported when things are really, really tough, that is always hard. And you're going to feel really alone, and that you're just tackling all that stuff by yourself. I have a lot to learn. I'm only 2 years deep. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that can arise, but that's what I've learned so far. I'm no expert. Don't think I'm an expert, but that's what I've learned so far. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your experience with us and your marriage with us.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who's been watching. And I just want to thank Ashleigh and Richard Trang again. Thank you to Compliments and Coffee and K. Nicolette on Etsy for donating the coasters and everything. Check her page out.
Beautiful. I'm definitely going to check out your page. I cannot wait to use your coasters and with my mugs and tag you. This is going to be great. I'm super, super excited. So thank you for the gift. Thank you for the person who created the coasters. Thank you for having us and giving me to have you on your YouTube live. This has been awesome. You do a great job, and I look forward to watching you more and seeing all the awesome stuff that you're going to be doing.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, don't forget to check us out next week, I'll be interviewing my friend, Christy Gonzalez, and she's going to teach me how to do something makeup-ly, since I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh, I'm definitely tuning in. This is going to be good.
Awesome. Well, I love you. We're sending you our love from Atlanta, and we'll have to catch up with you soon. Thank you.
And you know what? I know this is a live podcast, but let's just do this off the camera. We can always just chat with each other. If you ever want to do a girls' night or a couples' night, we're here.
Seriously, we can do a game night. That'll be fun.
A game night for sure. That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, I love you all. Send my love to your parents.
I will.
And thank you again for teaching me how to make lobster. I love it.
And then next time, just make some noodles and do a nice seasoning on the noodles and put the lobster on top. I'll send you my garlic noodle recipe. I'll send it to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Well, have a good night. I love you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.